This 3-year-old pit bull was up for adoption. However, after the man who wanted to adopt her filled out the necessary forms, he discovered a complication. She absolutely refused to leave without her best buddy. The man's reaction was unexpected. One thing I can say, the man with the San Diego Padres baseball cap remarked, "I like pit bulls. They're honest dogs, solid and reliable. I'm taking her." At most pet shelters, these words spell good news, an abandoned pet going to a new forever home. At the Rocket House Dog Sanctuary in Southern California, it was no different. But while Meryl, the 3-year-old female pit bull, certainly deserved a forever home, Kim, one of the shelter workers, felt uneasy about this particular adoption. There was something she needed to tell the man before he took Meryl home. "There's something else you should know about her," Kim began. "She came in with another dog, and they're deeply attached to each other." The man in the Padres baseball cap frowned. "That's not on her adoption notice," he pointed out. "I know, you're right," said Kim, "but I was hoping you could." "Look," the man interrupted. "I had to convince my roommate to accept one dog. He'll kick me out if I come home with two." Kim tried a different approach. "It's only a little Chihuahua," she said. "You could practically fit him in your pocket." The man grinned. "Well, in that case, it shouldn't be a problem. Chihuahuas are easy to adopt out. He'll be gone in a day or two. Pit bulls are a harder sell, and I'll be taking this one off your hands." Kim sighed. The meet and greet earlier that week had gone well, and the man had already filled out the paperwork. But as Kim closed the gate to separate Meryl from her little buddy, Taco, a look of desperation filled the pit bull's eyes. She let out a long, piercing howl, pawing at the gate she had just exited. Inside the cage, Taco's large, soulful eyes became moist as he began to comprehend the looming separation. He let out a few soft whimpers. "Come on, girl," said the man with the Padres baseball cap, giving Meryl a friendly pat. "There's a nice big bone waiting for you at home." But Meryl planted her paws firmly on the ground and refused to budge. She let out another mournful howl, craning her neck to look back at Taco. The man shrugged. "Freaky," he muttered. "You know what? Maybe I'll go with that chocolate Labrador instead. He's still available, right?" Kim felt terrible as she watched the man walk away, leading his chosen dog across the parking lot. That could have been Meryl and Taco. Since they were surrendered by their previous owner, there had been 7 failed adoptions, each more heartbreaking than the last. The two dogs, a female pit bull and a male Chihuahua, were inseparable, but most people who came to Rocket House Dog Sanctuary only wanted one or the other. Most dogs understood that while the shelter offered food and safety, it was a temporary halfway station. When someone took their leash and led them to the exit, they knew they were going home. But for Meryl and Taco, the promise of love and care was coupled with the potential heartbreak of separation. Before the man in the Padres baseball cap, there had been several other adoption meetings for Taco or Meryl. An elderly man wanted Taco as a companion for his wife, but didn't have room in his small apartment for a pit bull. Another woman expressed interest in Meryl, but didn't like small dogs. Time after time, the promise of adoption ended in disappointment. There was always some reason why the potential adopter wouldn't take both dogs. As Kim shared her frustration over the latest disappointment with Jody, another volunteer, Jody made an offer that would change everything for Meryl and Taco. Volunteers like Kim and Jody had always played an essential role in the successful management of Rocket House Dog Sanctuary. They took on various duties, feeding, washing, and grooming the dogs, organizing vaccination drives, assisting at adoption events, and photographing new arrivals. Though their work was often overwhelming, it was also rewarding. Some volunteers, like Jody, went above and beyond. In addition to volunteering, Jody fostered pets in her home, offering extra care or a break from the chaotic shelter environment. As she listened to Kim's story, Jody had a brilliant idea. Since 3 of her foster dogs had been adopted that week, she offered to foster both Meryl and Taco. This was wonderful news, as it gave the pair a chance to escape the shelter's depressing atmosphere. But there was one complication. During a checkup, one of the vets affiliated with Rocket House discovered that Meryl needed surgery. The pit bull had been used for breeding by her previous owner, and now she required a hysterectomy. The staff thought it best for Meryl to recover in a separate enclosure, but they hadn't reckoned with Taco's determination. He barked and whined until he was reunited with his best friend. Probably the last thing Meryl heard before the operation was Taco's distressed barking. When she woke up, she frantically searched the recovery room for her little buddy. Only when Taco was brought to her side did she calm down and rest. After a few days, Meryl was ready to be released. As Jody led her out of the enclosure, Meryl wagged her tail but glanced back toward Taco, as if to say, "We're in this together." Although Meryl and Taco were finally out of the shelter, they still needed a forever home. That's when inspiration struck Kim. She recalled the man in the Pager's baseball cap saying, "That's not on her adoption notice," and realized he was right. It was counterproductive to advertise Meryl and Taco separately. They needed one adoption notice that communicated their bond. Kim uploaded a new photo of Taco and Meryl snuggled together, as they often did, and drafted a new adoption post highlighting that these two dogs were a package deal. The post gained a lot of attention from animal lovers and supporters of Rocket House Dog Sanctuary. Within days, Meryl and Taco's ad had received 14,000 likes and over 26,000 shares. Several people inquired about adopting the pair, and one family ticked all the right boxes. After a successful meet and greet hosted by foster mom Jody, Meryl and Taco were finally adopted. The family included 2 boys and a girl who doted on the dogs, showering them with the love they deserved. Meryl enjoyed joining the kids on adventures, while Taco was content warming a lap, even if it was Meryl's. Despite Taco's age, which sometimes required him to ride in a sling, he still managed to join the family on walks. However, just a month after being adopted, a new crisis loomed. While Taco's breathing issues had previously been attributed to asthma, a checkup revealed more serious complications. Taco was diagnosed with heart failure. The family was heartbroken, but they refused to give up on the little dog. Months earlier, Taco had stood by Meryl during her recovery. Now it was her turn. Thanks to medication and care, Taco bounced back, proving he still had plenty of fight left in him. Though Taco and Meryl's family preferred to stay out of the public eye, they knew that Rocket House supporters wanted updates. So they created a Facebook page for Meryl and Taco, which quickly gained 77,000 followers. Such an extraordinary friendship. Do you have pets that are inseparable? How did their bond begin? Let us know in the comments. We'd love to hear your stories.